Hey, hi. Hello, hope you're doing well. Let's face it, when it comes to looking for gear for photography or filmmaking, most of us, it seems, oftentimes we start off with the camera, of course, and maybe a lens or two, and then you're like, oh, hey, audio's important, should probably get a mic. Of course, gotta have that new sick camera backpack. Gimbals are cool, should probably get one of those. Lights, on the other hand, typically not at the top of the priority list. Now, of course, I get it, they're not the most exciting thing, like getting a couple of lights. It's sort of like whatever gets the job done, right? I guess at the end of the day, ultimately, it does depend on what you're shooting. Like if you're a portrait photographer and you do a lot of natural light stuff just outdoors, yeah, you might not need a studio light. But I know for me, at least when I started out in my career, I really wish I took lighting a lot more seriously to begin with. Like realistically, I probably would have made it my second, if not third purchase after a camera and a lens if I had the chance to do it again. I recognize that quality video lighting equipment is sort of a strange, awkward area, especially for people who are just getting started on a budget. Like there's so many brands out there. I'm sure like 90% of you guys, if not more, have probably heard of Aperture. Without a doubt, they've easily been one of the most dominant lighting companies pretty much in the YouTube filmmaking photography realm for the greater part of the last few years. Amazing company, really nice people, amazing lights, but they're not exactly cheap. Now, if you haven't heard of them, Godox is a brand that has made some pretty popular, pretty affordable video lights in the past. I think it's the SL series. I think the really popular one is the SL60. But just this last year, they decided to enter what I would call kind of like the prosumer range of lights, kind of like the Aperture grade stuff with this new VL series light. So when they reached out to me asking if I was interested in putting them to the test, I couldn't turn them down. And well, after some pretty extensive testing, I can definitely say they are strikingly similar to the Aperture competition. They offer a VL150, a VL200, and a VL300. And right now with a sale going on, the VL150 comes in at $299, the VL200 at $469, and the VL300 at $639, which if I'm not mistaken is basically half of the comparable Aperture lights, those of which being the Aperture 120D Mark II and the Aperture 300D Mark II. Build-wise, they are very similar, and output-wise, I mean, they're similar if not even a little better because you have a little bit more flexibility with the ranges. So for half the amount of money, how good of a light actually is it? Godox sent me the VL200 and the VL300 to test out. Now, as you guys saw in the title, stay tuned till the end because I'm actually going to be giving away a VL200, which is actually the light I'm using to light this right now. These things come in a beautiful carrying case. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what comes inside. Now, if you haven't seen or tried these types of lights before, these are a single source video light, meaning that there's just basically one giant LED chip right in the middle. It has a bones mount, which is really amazing because it gives you a huge amount of flexibility with the amount of modifiers that you can stick on the front of it. One of the most common things that a lot of people put on lights like this is the dome style softboxes. They're basically a parabolic softbox is what we'd call them. A lot of people love this look because it produces a very nice, soft, clean look. And that is perfect and usually the ideal choice for something sort of like this, you know, a talking head YouTube studio type of shot. Godox also makes a ton of different options for softboxes. They sent me their P90L along with the lights, which is basically like a light dome style softbox, one of those deep round ones. I think it's 36 inches in diameter. It's a very affordable option if you're looking to get a nice big soft key light just like this. The one downside, however, I've seen with this softbox is that it's a little tedious and kind of clumsy to set up and break down just because it doesn't have those cool little quick release pins. Unfortunately, you have to manually insert each of the rods of the softbox into the speed ring, so it's kind of annoying. But if you're on a budget, this is definitely a really great option. Now, when it comes to light output and color accuracy, in my opinion, probably one of the most important factors when it comes to looking for a good video light. I'm not gonna go too far into detail about this because my friend Gerald Undone has a really phenomenal video that he did a while back.
Let's get undone.
Testing out these lights, super thorough and in detail, just like he always does with everything. And so if you wanna see those comparisons against the Aperture lights, be sure to check out his video. But in short, I can tell you that the VL150 outperforms the 120D Mark II in terms of output, and color accuracy is basically identical. And the VL300, if I remember correctly, is just about the same, or I think maybe even slightly outperforms the 300D Mark II. And same thing with color. I mean, they're all basically right on par with each other. Now, if you've never used or seen in person one of these high-end video lights, the light output you get from these are pretty mind-blowing. The best thing that I could come up with for comparison is we all know just about how bright an iPhone light is, right? Like, we're in the dark here, I'm shining a light on my face. You know, it puts out a decent amount of light, but it's certainly not outstanding by any means. But I chose this because I think it's a good baseline and something that you could probably understand on just how bright it is. So let's compare the VL200 at 1%. And then just start cranking it up, and you'll see these things are ridiculously bright. It's an even crazier story, obviously, with the VL300. I mean, this thing can make a large, empty, dark room basically like complete daylight. It's pretty impressive. I've had no issues using these in a scenario like having to key against a really strong backlit window on a subject. Like, seriously, the output of the VL300 is scorchingly bright. Now, like I said, the overall build and kind of operation of these lights is basically the same as the Aputure lights. You've got the AC power adapter, which you plug into the wall, that then plugs into the main controller, and the controller you then connect to the light itself. Build quality and construction across the board is pretty solid on these lights. I wouldn't have a problem sending these out on a professional production. In fact, I've actually rented these lights out to a friend for a few different commercial productions, and he had no issues or complaints with them whatsoever. So they definitely hold up to the task in the real world. I think a big feature of these lights is the fact that they come with a really solid case that, again, is very similar to the Aputure case, but it's built extremely well. So when it comes to production and moving these lights around on location, it's definitely a huge value to have a good quality case for a light. These lights can be powered both AC as well as with V-mount batteries, which again just adds to that flexibility when it comes to on location shooting. They also come with a remote control, and as well as a Bluetooth app that you can use to control the lights. One thing that definitely comes up a lot with these types of lights is fan noise. A lot of these higher powered lights typically have a couple of fans, and some of them can be pretty loud. I'm happy to say though that these are extremely quiet in my usage. I mean, I have this light right now at about 30% as this key light, and I don't think the fan ever kicks on at all. If you want to see an in-depth comparison on the fans of these versus the fans on Aputures, again, go check out Gerald's video. He really goes through just about everything that I'm not really talking about here, but they also sent me these. These little guys are the Godox R1, which is basically just a tiny little pocket-sized RGB video light. These things are really amazing. One really cool feature I like about these things is that the back of them, it's an all aluminum housing. It's actually magnetic. So you can do a ton with these. You can place them all over, use them as practical lights in the frame, just kind of like we're doing now. They're perfect for accent lighting, doing things with products, just adding a little bit of color somewhere in your scene. I've been using these things pretty much constantly, and they've actually been the little lights, obviously, in the background here that just kind of illuminate the shelf and kind of add a little bit more pop to my background. These things are perfect for stuff like that. A ton of different effects modes. We've got this like color cycle, twinkling, lightning, TV, fire, candlelight, just ton of different stuff. Does this look like candlelight? I feel like that's pretty good.
You're asking me? It's so romantic.
It's like a fireside. Yeah, if I were to put this like off to the side here. They also have a cool little accessory kit that magnet mounts to the front of these that gives you like barn doors, a snoot, different gel options. So you can really use these things in your production rather than just like a tiny pocket light. You can actually like modify them, which is kind of hard to do with these small little things. So yeah, thanks Godox for sending these things along to test out with the lights. I really want this video to be more about kind of like my real world impressions and experiences of these lights. And if I think that these are gonna be a good option for you guys if you're looking to kind of step up your lighting but are still on a little bit of a budget. So with that in mind, I gotta say, I really feel like these are probably some of the best value on the market when it comes to a quality budget video light. And yeah, I realize there are quite a few out there that are even less expensive than this that still give you a lot of output. Godox, like they even have the SL series, which are more affordable than these, and Aputure actually just came out with their new Amaran creator lights, I think they are, that also offer some pretty solid options. But my takeaway from using these lights for the last 8 to 10 months in my own work, in my own productions, is this. If you're somebody who does YouTube work, a little bit of personal stuff, but you also do client work and you're needing something you can take out onto location, onto a set, then something like those Godox SL lights or, even those cheaper aperture lights, they'll probably get the job done, but the build quality doesn't really inspire confidence. I mean, if you're taking these things out for a paid gig, you want equipment that's gonna be reliable. But one of the even bigger things, in my opinion, is that they can only be powered via AC. Having battery power on location is a really important thing. Not to mention, again, the carrying case. I mean, this whole package together, for the money you're paying for it, these things are pretty unmatched, honestly. Of course, I'm gonna have links to pretty much everything we've talked about in this video down in the description, so if you wanna check them out, I think these are seriously a really solid option for the money. As promised, I'm sure some of you guys probably skipped forward to this part, we are gonna be giving away a VL200. Like I said, it's the light that I'm using to light this right now. It's an amazing light, super versatile. If you want to enter that giveaway, click the link down below. I'm not exactly sure when the ending date is going to be and what all the details are going to be, but the link down below will have everything you need to enter the giveaway. So if you want one, go to the link. Cops are here. Gotta wrap this up. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next